Welcome back to the Danger Zone. We are today going to be looking at the TBF-1C and everything else that came new in the patch. This thing hasn't really been changed, but it did get a new model, so it looks a little bit more crisp. You got the F4E Phantom, and there's a lot of vehicles that got new armament setups, custom loadouts and whatever. I'll put all of those in the description because there's just too many to list. But I wanted to look at the F4E here. So you're able to carry 6 Mavericks now, as well as the GBU-8s. But looking at the real thing here you want to all look at, we got the F14 here. I did a video on it yesterday if you want to take a look at it. I haven't unlocked everything just yet, but these are the loadouts. This is what you can carry, and it does indeed get 2 skins. We are just going to do a very brief overview here. I'm not going to go too in depth into all of these vehicles, unless there's actually something noteworthy to say. This is the second skin. First one is the one you see me rocking in game. And then the last one is one I'm not really a fan of, but hey, if you like this kind of thing, be my guest. The F4J also got a little bit of change of a loadout. You can now carry the Sparrows on a different pylon or whatever. Not too interesting, but hey, I'm gonna notify you anyway. We got a new Junker. Not really that special. Don't recommend getting this one, but it does get a big fat bomb. Down to a 1000 kilogram. At a 1.3, which is pretty hefty. And then we got the Lim 5P, which is essentially just gonna be the Shenyang F5 that you find in the Chinese tech tree, except it will have 323mm and a radar at 9.0. So this is a very good addition. I am looking forward to flying this thing. I'm not gonna be flying it out today just yet, but hey, it does have an afterburner. It does lose the 37, but actually I think it's a good thing, because normally when you use 37, you don't really shoot to 23s. And when you do that, if you hit one of the 23s, you're only shooting a few rounds. Now you can really focus on the 23s and really hope that you put a fat burst in instead of maybe 1 to 2 shells. So I'm looking forward to flying this thing. We'll have to see how it fares at 9.0. But hey, it's a MiG-17F or Shenyang F5, however you want to call it. And it should be some good fun at 9.0. Don't get up to the 10.3 just as often. So I'm looking forward to this one. Russia gets an I-15 BIS update. Not really that interesting, but we also get an Su-17. It does get 2 skins. This is the first one that you can buy. That's the standard one. And here's the bicolor one. I've just put on all the loadouts, basically. It has an absolute metric ton of, well, presets, or things that you can make. It's absolutely bonkers. And this thing should have a little bit of a closer flight model to the Su-17. The Su-22 in the Russian tech tree is just a little bit of a shit brick. This thing should be a little bit lighter, should be a little bit more maneuverable, and it should just fly a little bit closer to the Su-17, because it is. So I hope that this thing isn't as painful as the Su-22, but hey, time will tell. In the end, it's still a ground attacker. I will probably take it out to just try and dogfight people, because that's just what we do over here. Great Britain gets a new cockpit on the Jaguar. Not gonna go into that, not really interesting. This thing gets a new updated model, also very interesting. And then we get a new Lightning. This is essentially the same thing as we already have in the game, but this one you can make absolutely hideous by doing whatever this is to it. It does get a few loadouts, as you just saw. If you want to see that, you can screenshot it. It also gets a desert camo, which I really don't like, but hey, to each their own. Japan gets absolutely nothing, but the EJK Phantom, if you're looking very closely here, now gets AIM-7Fs, which is a pretty good change. The AIM-7Fs are a lot harder to notch, and I'm talking about the missiles themselves. The EJK radar is of course amazing, and the fact that it now has missiles that can go along with it might make this thing pretty strong in the weapon department, but at the end of the day you are still a hard-wing Phantom. So still not going to be the best, but hey, it's going to have some very good missiles. I'm not even going to talk about this thing. Absolute appallingly bad plane. F5E, well, it's an F5E. Really not much to say here, but it does get a new weapon, which is the fire bombs. Cool, huh? In the end, basically the same plane. Might have a slightly different loadout here. I'm not too sure. Still AIM-9Ps, which are essentially AIM-9Js. Not sure if these are different. Looks like it lacks something. I can't really put my finger on it, but open the thing and you'll see for yourself. France actually gets 2 things. Do not buy this plane unless you are a collector. And then we come to the Ariete, and that is something that I want to show you real quick. I do recommend you to run 20 minutes of fuel. It does not gas belts because it's all the HE ones, and you have 100% throttle, which will engage the normal engine, making you a slightly heavier Sagittario, which is still alright at 9.3. Of course, it would be a nerf, but the thing is, when you go over 100% throttle, you'll see that this little thing opens up on the top. This is a second engine in the back, and this second engine has about 50% of the thrust as the thing on the bottom. And you can see where this is going. The acceleration of this thing is absolutely wild, and if you want to dogfight a MiG-19, you can, and you will win. If you run 20 minutes, the MiG-19 is on min fuel, this thing should still pretty handily win. It does overheat. It doesn't overheat, I'm sorry. It can cruise for a pretty long time. Do keep in mind when you kick this second engine into first gear, 11 gear actually, what ends up happening is your fuel consumption also goes to 150%. So do keep that in mind. You will run out of fuel relatively quickly. But hey, a second engine that kicks on, it's basically a bootleg afterburner. Because the second I go back to 100% throttle, it takes a little bit, and this thing will close again. The guns are the same guns as on the Sagittario. It is able to rip at 20 minutes of fuel if you are too violent with it, because it simply holds too much energy. It's one of the best raid fighters in the game right now, and it's an absolutely amazing plane. This thing is a lower price than the G91R4, and I am hyping it up right now. But do keep in mind, this thing will definitely go up and beyond, because it's basically a MiG-19 that's a little bit slower. And if this thing goes too much up and beyond, at the end of the day, it only goes 1130 kilometers an hour. And I say only, that's still pretty quick, but I'm expecting this thing to go to 9.7, maybe even 10.0. But keep in mind, it's a premium, so it might be flown by absolutely, or people that have no idea what they are doing. And it might end up at 9.3, but do keep in mind, you cannot really ground pound because your entire belt is HE. And it might go up and beyond, it might go lower, but I doubt it will ever go below 9.0. And this thing is already very high, so I'm expecting this thing to go up, but time will tell. It might just turn into another SU-11. But hey, as of right now, rank 6 instead of rank 5, and it's less money. Keep that in mind. You just can't really use it in ground LB because you have no ability to actually penetrate anything. Wink wink. France gets a few new planes as well. We got the Mirage F1C T, and this thing is basically Mirage F1, but it's the ground pound variant, so your loadouts are actually kind of whack. You can't really take out anything useful. The thing is, it does get an upgraded engine now. Both of them do. Both of them got changed. And this means that the thrust has actually been increased, making this plane maybe not as painful to fly. I will take this thing out. I will cover both of these again, probably in the same video. But we will have to see how it is. But it should have a little bit of a buff. And then we come to the Mirage Milan. And this thing, it's a rank 6 premium. Finally a rank 6 premium to grind for France. That's not really much to grind here, but maybe there is now. At the end of the day, is this gonna be a good pickup? Well, it's gonna be a yes or no. It's a bit of a double-edged sword. This thing is a little bit under tiered here. You got a Mirage. It has a better engine than the 3C. It's a little bit heavier, I believe, but the flight model, even if they were identical, at 9.7 is just under tiered. The thing is, even though it is under tiered, it's not gonna be very easy, amazing, however you want to call it, to fly. This thing, in terms of grinding, might not be very great. And it's the same thing that I did with... oh, I don't have it anymore. Do I have it? Wow, that's just a stop. I do have it. Wow, it's not a premium. I was looking for that. This plane is in the exact same boat, except it has slightly better missiles. It has the AIM-9Ds. This thing only has AIM-9Bs. It is a premium. It will get you through the grind. But keep in mind, it is a Mirage, and if you buy this thing because you haven't flown any of these jets yet, or any jets in particular, you're probably not going to have a very great time in this thing. And why is that? Because the Mirages all pull a lot of AOA, which means that the nose really breaks out a lot. It slips a lot, it loses a lot of speed, and it's very annoying to aim. And on top of that, Defas are just not very great guns. They have absolutely no damage whatsoever. They might be changed. There is something in the files, but I'll touch on that a little bit later on in this video. So yes, it is under-tiered. Yes, it is probably too good. Is it gonna be too good for grinding? I doubt it. It's still a Mirage. You're not very good at getting quick kills in and then just flying away again. But time will tell. Maybe it's a good pickup. I will fly this thing out very soon here. So if you are waiting for a video, I will definitely cover it. And then there is one more thing that I do want to show you on this plane. It has a mustache and it works by using the flaps. The mustache doesn't seem to be doing that much flight performance wise, but they come out when you drop your landing flap. It should help with stability. I'm not too sure how much it does in game. We did test it out, but the difference isn't too substantial. It's a little bit of a gimmick. It's pretty funny. You can say, ha, I have a mustache and I'm Italian. Haha, just kidding, I'm French. Whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, it's a Mirage and it's not going to be the best for grinding. Sweden got nothing, so there's nothing to show you here. Israel got also nothing, but they changed the GUNPODS on the KFIRs. And now for grand things, how you want to call it. There are some flight model changes. We have the yak trees, which have increased lift on the flaps. The SU-17 as well as the SU-22 got a little bit of a flight model update. It's minor, but it is there. The IL-10 flight model has been updated. Yeah, something with the speed. I'm not too sure what exactly it is. And then you got a lot of bombers. The Key 102, the Key 96, the Key 108, the Key 100, and the D4 tree. And there's something a bug with the engine that's not really substantial. And the rest I have covered. And then we want to go to the options, because there's a new thing over here. We have air battles. We can now finally, well, I say finally, but I really don't care. We can change the color of the HUD. I have done this before in one of my videos and people kept asking me, hey, how do you set your HUD to green? Well, it used to be very finicky, but now you can just click whatever you want. I am still going to keep the white, and that's mainly, if you go back to my older videos, you can tell the green is very hard to read. When I fly over water, when I'm maneuvering too much, or there's like trees in the way, and it's not because it's hard to read, it's just because the YouTube compression is just terrible. It's just fucking shit. And then one last thing, we have something with the replays now. And you want to turn this on. It will make your file a little bit bigger, but you can now rewind your replays, which is pretty nice. I'm not sure how stable the replays are going to be. I have a feeling that they're still going to be absolutely shit. But hey, one can dream. Being able to rewind, even if it's just 4 seconds, would make a massive difference for me, especially for thumbnails and stuff. But it's just very nice to not have to restart the entire thing when you're going into like a 2-hour replay. Well, that's a little bit of an overstatement, isn't it? When you're like 20 minutes into the replay, it keeps crashing, you finally get there, and then you overshoot by 1 second. How annoying is that? A lot of you guys will be, well, they have been there, should be fixed now, but we will have to see how it works. I haven't tried it yet, I just turned it on. I stopped recording and then I noticed that, well, oh, I forgot about the replays. So there you have it. Everything new, I think. If I forgot anything, I will put it in the description, or I'll pin a message in the comment section. Hope you enjoyed it. Good luck with the grinding, and see you all